Okay, so I'm going to do a very short presentation just to bring you up to speed on where we've got to with this project we've been doing. We finished the project in October, and then this is just a chance for my wonderful team of carers. I had 13 carers involved, helping us from a very person-centred direction, and I couldn't have done it without them. I didn't do much. They did all the work for me, so thanks very much. But these four lovely people are representing a small section of the 13 carers that were involved in the process. I'm going to talk a little bit about my book, just to refresh your memories. I've done a presentation on this before, but it's just a little refresh. So my book, it's a carer's handbook that you can create yourself. So it's a very bespoke tool or resource that a carer can use from the very day they are told that they're a carer to the very last, and can populate it any way, shape or form that they wish to do so. What is my book? A tool for building confidence and resilience on your caring journey. It becomes a resource to turn to that relates to your needs. A place to communicate what's important to you. A book you can create to meet your needs. This is we've just given out our first template copy. We really want to develop this further and to relate for people to use in their boroughs, and to relate to information services, organisations that are in each borough. What goes inside? Not all of that. First things to consider. So we came up in the group, what are first things to consider? It's when you get a diagnosis or you become a carer. It's that day that you're in a doctor's room or a hospital or whatever it is, and you actually realise that you've become a carer. So it's a very layman's terms, simple thing to start you on your journey of being a carer. We envisage that after you've done all of the stuff that it suggests, you can do whatever you want. There's no rules or regulations to do it. But once you've found all of these first things to consider and taken what you need from it, you can discard them or pass them on to the next carer if you like to recycle and do whatever you want in that sense. My plan, so after you've done the first things to consider to support you to access local services, you create a plan for yourself. You know, there's so many plans for the people that we care for and so much support out there. Nobody ever gives a plan for a carer. So we wanted to see about having access to giving support in that sense. Your daily diary. So this can be a very day-by-day services you access, people you speak to, support with, whatever you want to put in it. It's a diary. They're separate days, so if the day changes or a service changes that you access, you can take it out and replace it with a new one. Services we access. So it's about the person, you know, that you're caring for, but it's also about it's all about you as a carer. So that's really important that we felt that we needed to put in there to say and cement that this is booked about the carer. Useful contacts, you know, it's your favourite pizza place or your, you know, favourite doctor at your GP surgery, or it's that. So once you're feeling having a bad day, which carers do sometimes because it's exhausting, somebody else in the support network can step in and just pick up the book and go, I'm going to get you a pizza from your favourite place, and that'll make it, you know, that'll soften the load of the day maybe. Open communications. We discussed this a lot because some of us felt that some family members who might not have a massive involvement in the caring role tended to come in and wade in and say, you're not doing it right. That's not how you do it. She doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. So the open communications book is, we envisage that this is open to everybody, unless you're the brother who lives in Australia who comes over for 2 months or 2 weeks of the year, they can have one, and so on and so on. So how that would be, we could make an app that people could put into the communication side of it that could help people communicate in a less emotional way, a less sort of intense way, that you could read as and when you needed to, and read in a calm way, and add to and take from as and when you needed. My support network, that's going back to who you trust and who you want in your life, and anything you like. So how does this start? So you start with the basic package. So what you have in front of you is the basic package. It needs development, it needs to be pushed in different directions, and some more information will probably need to be put into it to relate to in each and every borough. But I think what we came up with as what we've got at the moment is a good start. Add and take away as you progress. Like I said before, it's talking about after you've done the first things, you can take out stuff or put into it. If you don't want to have useful contacts in, you can take and add and take away as you want. So it's really bespoke to you as an individual, so you own it. We as professionals give out loads of useful fact sheets, booklets, but it's all very static. To take stuff out of there, you have to rip it out and paste it into a scrapbook in that sense. So we're giving you control, we're giving the carers control of what goes into that book. Fill it with what you like and need, use it in any way you like. Swearing is permitted. Why have my book? Control. So you're controlling what you want. We as professionals tell you can do it like this, you can do it like this, and so on and so on. So it's being in control of how you want to be as a carer. Independence. It's giving you a tool that's solely for you. Choice is letting you choose how and why and when and who you use it with or how you use it. Communication, going back to the way we talked about with family members. If everybody in a family, you've got a big family and we're all caring for one individual, everybody has a book. So everybody can come together and talk about what's in your book. Oh, we can do that. Oh, that's a nice idea. So it gives people a bit of a mediating tool in so much. If we're having a bit of a trouble and everybody's putting their 10 pence in and no one's really getting anywhere, it could be used in that sense. Support. That's the main thing. Who can access my book? Everybody can access my book. No matter what stage in your journey of care, whether you've been caring for an individual, some people might not want to take on my book, but in a couple of years' time might pick it up. So it's a very accessible, easy to populate, easy to mould into what you need for that time in your life. Anyone who's cared for, no matter what capacity, that goes back to the brother who lives in Australia or comes over for 2 weeks of the year. It's giving them the opportunity to feel like they're part of the caring one. So this is our vision for the future. Where can I get one? So everywhere. We're talking about outside sites, so as GPs, health centres, hospitals, communities, centres, libraries, memory services, and the list is never ending. We really want this to be available not just for people who care for people with dementia, but for people who care in general. And this can be picked up and developed by organisations in the way that they want to do it and make it into their sort of book, but using this idea. It's a project that could have not been successful without the support from the carers that contributed to get this to the end product. Person-centred approach to providing support for carers is the best way to give what is needed. One of our carers couldn't come today, so she's given me a few words. I'm going to say her words, and then my wonderful carer will come and tell them how it feels being part of this project. Okay, so this is words from Gillian Glasscock, who is a carer. I care for a 93-year-old who has mobility problems and dementia. I took early retirement from teaching 6 years ago at the age of 56. The lady I care for is my mum. I was probably the most negative person in the group regarding the need of or use of the book for carers. I wanted to be involved. I was interested to see the outcome. As the project progressed, I got a little more positive, but still unsure about its use as a tool for carers. My attitude changed completely when I was told about a photo my 5-year-old great-nephew was talking about. He knows his great-grandma and myself as great-aunts, and can identify us as members of the family, as being his granddad's mum and sister. However, the photo, he said that granddad's mum... However, in the photo, he said that granddad's mum and that pointed to me and is the lady who cares for her, and pointed to my mum. The family thought it was funny. I was really upset that a 5-year-old could in his own vocabulary just identify me as a carer. This incident made me think about the book and how it could help identify the carer as a person. A carer is what we do, not who we are. We need to remember and remind others that we have had life before caring. We have ambitions, expectations, wishes and bucket lists to coincide with our caring and for the future. These are important issues for carers to remind themselves of, as well as letting others know. It is easy to get locked into carer's role and forget who we are. Using the book for myself would enable me to remember the identity, who I am, and not only what I do. I would hope other carers, especially new carers, would see the need to keep their identity and not only be seen as their loved ones' carers. Thank you. So, John, would you like to tell the group about how it made you feel being part of the project?
Yeah, I enjoyed the project. It made me feel better because I learned I wasn't on my own. Something I'd forgotten because I need care myself. And when what was called the Spastic Society, one of the great things we did there was you met people. This group was very good in reminding me that you're not on your own and people have a different place. But we can help each other from these places. And I think the information we put in this book will enable people to come together and help each other. And if somebody needs respite care, they've got the tools from the book to say, this is what that person needs. I would say it, of course, but I do think it's a very worthwhile project. And I have learned a lot. I still feel a bit of a fraud because I only care for my mother by going to see her once a week, once a fortnight. I'm not involved in physical care in that sense because it's impractical, but I learnt a lot. And as somebody pointed out to me at one of the meetings, you care because you go. So that helped me, it actually helped me over a problem that I'd got. I don't think there's anything else I might like, Joe.
Thanks, John. Jane, would you like to say a few words?
Well, like I said, my mother is still in the early stages, so she's not in receipt of any services as such. So being involved in this project, I found really useful because there were carers who care for people with much more complex needs, and it was lovely to learn about the struggles, the issues they face, how they deal with those, how they overcome them or not. I also think that as carers, sometimes when you're asked, what could help you or what would you need, we generally tend to think in terms of the people we're caring for, not in terms of what is our needs. So it was nice to be in a group where that was the focus. And when we did tend to veer off, Joe very gently brought us back to thinking in terms of what it is we need. So I found that really helpful. I think this book is something that I would use because it's touched on things that do affect me in terms of communication. I don't have a very good relationship with my sister. Communication is basically non-existent. So I feel that this book would help in terms of letting her see what goes on in my life, in my mum's life, because she refuses to engage with me. So, and that's a concern for me sometimes in terms of, well, how do I impart information to her about what's happening with mum? So this would make that aspect much easier. I'm also a service user, so I struggle with keeping organised sometimes. So I feel that this would help me immensely in that respect, where I can have everything in one place that relates to me and to my mum. I think it's great for contingency planning, when at times when you might not be able to care due to ill health or any other unforeseen circumstance, that you're not stressing and worrying about what's happening with your loved one, that you know there's a place any professional or other member of the family can go to and look at and say, well, this is what happens, this is, and that's taken care of. So I've really enjoyed the whole process. It was nice to be able to be in a safe environment where you could just really be open and honest about what goes on for you as a carer.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Jeanette?
Yeah, John and Jane have said a lot. What I can say, I'm quite proud to have been part of my book. It kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things, because sometimes you're in a place and it seems really lonely, like, what's the GP's number? How do I get hold of social services? All information that can be useful to you, you can put in that book. It can be confusing, it can be lonely, like being a carer. It can be quite emotional. As I said, I look after my mum. Yeah, she's 83. I think she's 83. She does have Alzheimer's, but just in September she was diagnosed with inoperable pancreatic cancer. So that was a whole new ball game to me, dealing with the Macmillan team and other services that I haven't had to deal with before. I'm one of 8, so everyone's got different opinions, but to be able to put everything down in one place, hopefully, everybody be singing from the same hymn sheet. I think a lot of information can go in there, and it's a working tool. You can take out stuff, you can add stuff, and for me, my book would remind me to enjoy myself a little bit, that I'm not just a carer.
Okay. Thanks, Jeanette.
Thank you. Being a carer isn't always a choice. Mum's she's one of 8 and had to take on the main role, so now she's living with my nan and caring for her 24/7. So it's not always a choice, and as Mum said, she's one of 8, and there are lots of opinions. I'm one of 26 grandchildren, so again, there's lots of opinions. When you take on that role as a carer, it does then actually, as others have said, become your identity. Unfortunately, people forget who you were before, things that you enjoy, because it's just your responsibility to look after this family member. And unfortunately, it can be, as you said, very emotional, and you can lose who you are, and it can become an awful weight on your mind as well. And with us in particular, who was obviously dealing with Nan and caring for her with the Alzheimer's, and as Mum said, that developed very quickly, escalating from just visiting every day to living there. Well, that happened in September. She was in hospital for a whole month, and then since then it's evolved like that. Having my book would be amazing because of even things like the daily plan. Just knowing, okay, Nan's got this on this day, or there's this appointment that day. Well, we can't necessarily take her, then somebody else can step in and know the routine and know what she likes and what she doesn't like and things like that. And that in itself is a whole weight. Since Nan's been out of hospital and kind of dealing with the medication, tracking what she's eating and feeding back to St Joseph's, in a sense, I've been kind of doing one of these without having it. So keeping a daily log and how her temperament's been and how her pain's been, and having something this, not only that mum as the main carer can refer to, but I can then look in potentially and check and see, okay, so how's Nan been? Which we're trying to encourage everyone to do with the book that we've already got at home, rather than everyone, well, how's her pain? What medication she had? And it can be a little bit much. But also having my book, also you can kind of write down things that you like and what you enjoy. Simply when the carer comes and getting some time, take mum to go and get her nails done. It's like amazing to have that time. Or just when you get a night off to watch a movie, get a takeaway and snuggle in your onesie. But just having those things as kind of targets to tick off so that you're getting a little bit of who you are. Strangely enough, without writing it down, you forget the things that you like or that you enjoy. Sometimes other people don't see it as being important, but it's important to you as a person, apart from being that role of carer. And one other thing is, I noticed that things change and evolve so quickly. Like in hospital, I didn't realise that you've already got the forget-me-not paperwork, which we wasn't aware of until maybe 2 or 3 weeks into Nan's month and a bit in hospital. And that, just even having that as a template that can go in here, is one less thing to have to think about when you then go into hospital, because you can pick up your book and take it with you. Straight away you know what medication they're on, you've got the forget-me-not paperwork in there. There's a whole host of resources already available to you without then having to think necessarily about it too tough. So every service in which a carer then is involved in can go in here. So like the stuff with St Joseph's helping keeping a record of things, that can also then go in here. So not only is it about you as a carer and you as a person, but just the routines that you have, the records that you keep. It's just amazing to kind of have it all in one place that not only you can refer to, but if you then need to pass that information on. So on Mum's night off, currently I'm leaving lists on the fridge, don't forget this, don't forget that, do this. But they can turn to the book and refer to the book to actually see what it is that we all could be doing as carers working together.
Thank you very much.